Greetings, and welcome to another brand new episode of Out the Box Talks. I am your host, Krill. We are here for episode 73. I want to thank all of our listeners for rocking with us, for staying with us. It is extremely important that you guys continue to rock with us, man, and it means a whole lot. So thank you. Episode 73. We have made it to another episode. And as always, you know, I bring you some dope talent every Friday for each new show. So the guests that I have today are definitely in that bill. So yeah, we're going to talk to some dopeness again today that represents hip hop strongly. But before we do that, I do want to kind of shout out the website so that folks know where to go to find everything associated with Out the Box. The website is outtheboxmedia.com. You know, we have all of our previous episodes. We've been doing it since 2008, 2009, where you can actually check out our YouTube videos. It all started on Out the Box TV, and then we transitioned into, you know, even a live radio station, 24/7 internet radio station, and we also started doing podcasts some years ago. So this is the website you can always go to check out and keep updated with everything Out the Box related. Also, we have our Patreon page where you can find exclusive interview clips of artist interviews that I've done. These interviews, however, are clips that has not been made public before. It's only for members of Out the Box Media and subscribers of our Patreon page. It's a small fee, a very reasonable fee that I bring to you guys so that you guys can get access to some exclusive content. All right. Also, if you want to donate to Out the Box, you can send donations to paypal.me/outtheboxmedia, or if you have Cash App, you can go to #OutTheBoxRep and send donations there. Remember, no donation is too small. Whatever you can provide, it helps with this movement. All right. We also have our Out the Box audio podcast, which you can find on platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and generally wherever you listen to high quality audio podcasts, you can find the audio podcast to our shows. All right. So, and then we also have our merch store, which is www.outtheboxmedia.bigcartel.com. If you want to support and rock some Out the Box merch, like the Out the Box TV snapback I got on, or even the Out the Box Media t-shirt and some other, you know, clothing items, you can go there and support. All right. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. As I said, we are at episode 73, and we have two guests today that represent hip hop in its most purest, authentic form. And I am so excited to have them a part of the show today. One of them has been making music for professionally for over 30 years. I mean, this is amazing to see this brother still consistently at the forefront, you know, professionally as an artist, and the other artist has been doing music for quite some time as well. So these brothers are no newcomers to this. And what I love is the fact that they keep the authenticity and that raw quality of hip hop standing strong even in 2021. So they have a project out today that's actually a self-titled project. And it has a very uplifting and inspiring theme. If I say the name of the title, I will give away the artist names. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce them. So I want to welcome to our Out the Box listeners and Out the Box viewers to Out the Box Talks, two brothers hailing from the city of Boston. Welcome to Out the Box Talks, brother Insight Innovates and Edo.G. Welcome to Out the Box Talks. What's good? What's good? How are y'all? Welcome. Such a pleasure to have y'all here.
What up? Good to be here, man. Peace,
Peace,
peace.
peace.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I said, man, I'm so excited about this project that you guys have out today. Well, out now, which was released about a week ago. It's called Edo.G and Insight Innovates, which is self-titled, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Indeed. So I want to talk to y'all about this project. So the bulk of the interview will focus on this project. But before we even jump into that, I do want to give y'all a chance to talk about how you all first even came together and how that relationship manifested it into this project that we have here today.
You want to take it, Ed, or how you want to?
I mean, you can start. You can start, brother.
All right. So I started with Ed, right? Because you know, ever since I started, I mean, before I started, he was already, you know, Boston legend, releasing, you know, we all know, you know, his first album, second album. So, you know, by the time I started doing records in about 99, you know, I had, you know, probably my third album, me and him had did a song. And then that same year we went on tour. He took me on tour with Master Ace and Long Hot Summer Tour. We actually grew up around same area. You know, he knew my cousin, lived in same street, you know. And basically after that tour though, that's kind of solidified it. We had already talked about doing projects, but once we did that, I mean, we was really planning on doing something. But then I ended up in 2005 moving out to Europe. Like we went on tour, I just didn't go back home. I stayed living out in Europe. Literally, that's how he told me you know, where you going after this? I'm like, I'm moving to Germany. So I stayed out there. It was funny because we would meet up after that, but we would like, he'd be like, yo, we got a show in Switzerland and I'll just be there. And we was just doing that for like years, man. And then finally, and there's another reason for my gap, but I'll say that for another question. But finally, you know, this time is like for me, this is like a new phase of releases, and Brick Records hit me up about, you know, and then they brought up Ed as a, you know, just a good way to just, you know, this is the perfect time for us to knock something out, right? So, and I guess the chemistry in the record, that's a whole nother question too, because he was already prepared, right? I'm used to you know, he's professional, so he comes through. I know I'm excuse me for just talking on and on, but I'm just trying to, you know, make everything, you know, sound as clear as possible. But yeah, he came through. I kind of had a template of the first batch of joints, and then he took, you know, maybe about, I don't know, Ed, like maybe we went back and forth a couple of hours picking what joint should be, and then the next day, it must have been like a day or two, he just came out and knocked out like the first 4 joints, and then right there I was like, oh shoot, well, I guess we doing the album then. The vibe was just there. I was okay. Now we know how it's supposed to. It's like we just knew. It's like once he came through, it was just, everything was just easy. It was easier for us to do. I mean, it was just professional. You know what I mean? He did his thing. I would put my thing on it. Then I'll go back home, do the cuts, you know, and on the other side, he would be like, oh, you know, I got a chorus, or I throw a cut in, and kind of, you know, it just came together really well. On top of just, he was also recording too. So we recorded my spot, but he recorded his, sent me the lyrics. I'm mixing it down. So just efficiency, man. It was just, so, you know, we gonna do another one. I'm gonna stop talking, but that's
yeah.
Is that it, Ed?
I mean, you know? he pretty much summed it up, you know. But for me, it was pretty easy. Me and Sight had always talked about doing stuff together. and the timing was just right. It just kind of all lined up. And I
Yeah.
think that's the
Yep.
best kind of projects to work on because it's not forced, it's natural. I came through, knocked out the first joints, inspired him to get busy and, do his joints. And then I came through, knocked out the rest of the joints. And, I had some ideas that I shot to him. Like, I will get into the particulars of the album and stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty simple process, man. We already know each other for a long time. So it's easy to work together for us. We
Right.
don't have any egos, anything else besides doing dope music. That's the
Yeah.
goal. You know what I'm saying?
I'll add to that. One of the things I've been saying is and this ain't on some toot your own horn shit. Like when I listen to the album, it's like I keep using the word sincerity, right? Because it's a lot of cats a lot of stuff sounds so forced. I mean, cats can sound good, but it's hard to be sincere, like really sound like you really, not just you really mean it, but you really feel it. If you say you want things to change for the better, you really reflect that. You're not just doing it on some marketing shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it really, we really meant what we said. And when you listen to it, that it just, it carries on throughout the album. So
exactly.
That's so well said, because when you listen to the album, it does come across very organic. It's just an easy going cohesiveness that
Word up.
as you listen through it.
There's a line I said hip hop don't need another facade from someone clueless. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just
right.
It's true.
That line makes so much sense. So Insight, I you just alluded to something that you actually hit me to prior to the interview. I did not realize that Insight Innovates was Insight, right?
Right.
And it's so funny because I get so much music, right? I'm always connected to so much music, and I know there's always that chance of like a name falling through the cracks, like somebody I probably saw but didn't recognize, right? And I know that you've now changed your name to Insight Innovates. Like, talk to me about how that, what was the whole thinking process for that transition in name?
So I innovated so that so in 2004, right, I had an album, The Blast Radius. That was if you want a good reference of what I was kind of doing, I was really focusing on live shows, really good, hard hitting live shows. Like, cats could front on whatever they want, but the live show, they ain't fronting on the live show, right? So after that year, iTunes came out, right? 2004, iTunes comes out. I start rethinking what it means to put an album out, right? So I started focusing more on digital audio signal processing and end-to-end distribution systems and C++ and trying to put together ideas for just delivering music in a different way. So and that took on a process of its own. By the time I got so deep into that, I was a software engineer. So now fast forward to like 2008, I had been focused on like doing apps. That was the first year iPhone comes out. So then, of course, now instead of just releasing records, I was like, okay, I had to re-understand what it meant to release records. So I started fusing together the experience of audio, interactivity, gestures, different things. And so, that whole experience of making an app to me is kind of the future of music. So in that process, then I started doing apps, right? So I started doing apps for like Bose and just I started a company because of that, and just a lot of different experiments with releasing music instead of just putting albums out, and had to deal with a lot of doubt too, like, oh, you can't do software, or you can't do XYZ. So just focus on the goal. And now I think the time is right. People caught up to the technologies, and now we can go back to the beginning and put things out because the time's right. And some of this is extremely technical, but that's also where me and Ed had a good, we had a good chemistry in terms of like ideas and innovation and just coming up with things that people haven't tried yet. So a lot of those years where instead of just releasing records, we were mostly doing, like, I would say it's like research, we were doing research. We have like ideas that haven't yet, we haven't brought them out to the product yet. But like, he's laughing because it's so true. But like, Ed, like, tell the people, like in 2004, when we was on tour, we had streaming. Like
this guy was streaming on tour way before that. I mean, this guy told me, look, the music is over. It's all going to be digital. They're taking over everything. I was like, really? He told me this like 2 years before it happened. Everything. Like, so, I mean, we already been, technologically in hip hop, like on this technical hip hop journey. So, now doing the album and just more ideas that we've had for years, bringing them to fruition. I mean, it's like, we got a lot of things.
We got a lot of things. So that's just to circle back to that question. Insight Innovates, right? So that's the whole thing. There's a lot of other insights that pop up. I think there's like a house one. There's there's even a company out in Canada, but none of them innovated. So see
the direction. I see it. That's what's up.
Right.
Talk to me about why y'all chose to self-title this album, because when I listen to the album, it has a clear message. Like, to me, you could have titled this album, Edo.G and Insight Innovates, the message, or uplifting, or they inspire, or something like that, right? Because those are the themes that tend to come up in this project. But why did y'all, for the first project that y'all collaborated on, why did y'all choose to self-title it?
I think I could answer that. I think I came up with I think it was mostly, I don't know if you want to add to this, Ed, but for me, it was like, I was thinking like Ed had Edo.G and the Bulldogs, right? And then he had like, and then I'm like, okay, a better way of me reintroducing myself is to have the name on the title, right? Because if I didn't say that, then it would be confusing, right? But people already know Ed, so it's just like, if you say Edo.G and then that second thing is the next name, it forces people to learn the name, right? This is all tied to, like, for me, maybe it was a selfish thing, but it kind of tied to my reintroduction, because it was a lot of talk of, if you add that to your name, people won't remember. I'm not trying to connect the past. I'm saying, but yeah, that's so I think that's kind of one reason that the name self-titled.
It's definitely not selfish. I mean, he just said, let's self-title it. I'm like, cool. It's real simple. It's not.
I think
the
it's
album
a good.
Is dope. It's gonna speak for itself. So, the title in that case, and plus he's reintroducing himself.
Right.
So it's easy.
It makes a lot of sense when you think about his reintroduction as Insight Innovates.
Exactly.
Now, Edo, one of the things I noticed about your career, especially as it continued to emerge in the last 2 decades, is the fact that you have collaborated with a lot of MCs and producers. And I mean, not just features on songs. I mean, you've done multiple projects, collaboration projects. Why? What makes it so easy for other artists to collaborate with you? And you could probably chime in on this as well, Insight, but I'll throw the question out first to you, Edo. Like, why is it so easy? Like, you've had so much success doing this.
First with my first two albums, I'm gonna go all the way back to the
Right.
first two albums. I had the crew on the records, but none of those songs ever made the album because it was a major label and people bigger than us making decisions
Okay.
on songs at that particular time, and sample clearances too, with certain things. And once I got away from the major label and got to start collaborating with other artists, man, it was like the greatest thing ever, because I always wanted to work with a bunch of different artists, man. So for me, it's when you're an artist, I can put out I can put out a project, every month, just like Insight. We're that, we have that much in us that we could do that, but it's not going to amount to nothing, and collaborating and making good projects with other people as an artist. Just like if I was a guitarist and I featured on somebody else's song, with a solo, it's the same thing. A jazz player, a pianist, anything, a singer. So, as rap artists, for me, I tell all young artists, and I put some of my young guys on, and about 2013, I brought them to Europe with me, not to be going all around the world, but I told them when I brought them there, collaborate, meet producers, do projects. You're an artist, you know what I'm saying? You don't just have to have an album for you. You can do projects that can expand your audience. So that's always my thought process on that. I'm collaborating with Insight. He has a different audience than me, or pretty much the same, but different. I have a different audience than him, pretty much the same, but different. So the collaborations, it's bringing more people together. You know what I'm saying, for what we do.
Indeed.
One thing I'm gonna add to this, because Ed may not say it on his own, but he's just a good dude. A lot of people, they don't, they're not the person you meet, in real life, or, they get ahead of themselves, or some people get out of touch with what's dope. They can't do it anymore. I don't know for what reason it is, but just keeping that point of reference, what you do, and just having a limitless approach at music and staying professional, just a good blend of that. I mean, he got all that. So it's not like everybody can collaborate, but he can. Just that mix of being professional and at the same time, being grounded and not let your head get all over. He's still that dude from Roxbury, but he'll collaborate with cats. Sometimes it might be to put somebody else on. I mean, a lot of cats don't do that. So
so the reason why, I'm sorry to cut you off, the reason why I asked that question is you can actually see it, right? Like, without having to explain it, right? But like, when you just look at what Edo has done throughout, I mean, like, from all the way from 2004, and I mean, going back to the beginning of his career in the late 80s, you see that, right? You see it like, it speaks for itself. You see that there has to be a good quality here, that he's able to still stay, collaborating and, out there, and people are seeing you consistently with projects. So thank you though for breaking that down. So the first track on the album, entitled Just Listen, when it starts off, you hear a skit of you guys using the virtual assistant Siri to search for classic hip hop music. As you were talking about tech, this whole concept started to make a little bit more sense. But tell me why and what motivated you guys to open the album in this way.
Yo, Ed is all over that.
I can add on to that. It was a concept that I had, And I told Insight, you know, make a beat with using all the Apple sounds, man. Like just, he was like, oh shit. Yeah, and then his brain just went crazy instantly. So it was just like an instant lightning. And then he took it and came back with the beat. And I'm like, oh shit. Like exactly what I was thinking. Like we think like it's like this. Like I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. So that
It's
was just a
true. Like
concept that I came up with, and then I told Sight, okay, take us to the next level. Make the beat. Here's the you know, groundwork. Now just go. Take this and put it together. And he, you know, did what he did, and it was just, you know, a crazy record, man.
and the thing I'm gonna add to that with is like that beat, when he told me about that concept, I started thinking of you know, like the Tribe album. I started thinking of Midnight Marauders and how, you know, how they're like the, you know, how it was narrated. And so I was like trying to use Siri like that. So that's kind of why the sound of it sounds that way, and kind of like, you know, that just kind of influenced my thinking on the intro. But yeah, man, I thought that was a good concept, and we just basically, you know, we just went nuts with it.
Indeed, man. It did come across pretty cool. So also on the opening track, you have a line, Edo, where you say, "You're here for a good time. We're here for a long time." What value does the artist need? No lie, right? And this concept comes out a lot too in the music. But what value does the artist being here for a long time give to not only themselves but also to the music fan and the culture in general?
Yeah, man. I think, you know, hip hop is still a young thing, man. I mean, it's what, you know, and don't, you know, quote me on this, roughly maybe around, you know, close to 50 years or something like that. So it's not that old, and we have to, you know, as artists, for myself, an artist in my genre that are still continuing to put out good music, we have to continue to, you know, make this legacy, man. Rock and roll does it, jazz does it, all of our other music, you know, our parents can still go to a show and see the oldies. We need that for hip hop. And we're blazing a path for cats that's going to come behind us in the future to be able to do this. I'm 50. I'm still doing this. I
Wow.
got a ton of new projects with my brother's site, and, you know, a bunch of other stuff coming out this year. So we blazing a path for cats to do this to whenever they want to stop.
Dope. The also on this opening track, actually no, the third track, entitled Never Too Late to Correct Mistakes, has a pretty self-explanatory message. You guys have some, I think you Insight, you have some pretty clever lines on that track. I think one of them, you say, remove addiction, lose the vision with a new position, don't follow contradiction, start a new edition, cool it now. Like I saw that. Cool it now.
You did that pretty good.
I'm referencing it. Why do you think it's never too late to correct mistakes, even if it's unfortunately a big mistake? Like, what does one get out of correcting a mistake?
Redemption. Well, think about it like this: if that wasn't true, they'll just lock people up and leave them in jail, right? You can't change the past, but you can learn from the past, you know, and you can, you know, go forward with, you know, the decisions you make based on your past can benefit a lot of people, no matter what you did, even though, you know, you could have done something really bad, but that's an extreme case, right? You could always improve on the past.
Yep.
That's,
Yeah.
you know.
Listen, perfect example. One of my brothers, that's one of the Bulldogs. As soon as our first album came out in '91, he went to jail. It came out in March. He went to jail in April. and went to jail for 20 years. Been out for around 10 years now, doing his thing. He got released because he got locked up in New York under the Russell Simmons, thank God, hip hop, where he got I forgot the name of the law that Russell Simmons had got passed in New
Rockefeller?
York, the Rockefeller
Yeah.
law. And my
Yeah.
man from Boston had got locked up in Albany, got released because of Russell Simmons. And
Wow.
he's been, you know, excelling ever since then. He was excelling before then, but just got caught up. But I'm just saying, so it's really never, you know, you can always, he was down for 20 years, man. And he's out
Wow.
living lovely, doing his thing and doing the right thing.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
man.
I love to hear stories like that, you know, and instances like that. And the interesting thing about this album, I was saying to Insight earlier, was that, like, you know, you guys embody, you know, progress and upliftment on this project. And I'm such a proponent of artists who are doing that to this day in hip hop, because I feel like the culture continues to need that, right? And it's one of the ways that we continue to push the culture forward. So it's like a lot of these titles on this album, when you just read them, you see the positive energy in it, and then you guys do an awesome job really adding to it within the lyrics.
Appreciate
So I
that.
want to big y'all up for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, man.
Indeed. Also on the song, on that song, Edo, you have a line where you say, "People always say, Edo, how you still do it? See, I love the music and my movement is improving." Can you expound on how your love for the music and the ability to adapt and grow as an artist has developed over the years?
Man, I think, you know, every experience you have in music, every tour you do, everything you have, it molds you to where I'm at, you know, today. And I mean, I think all those experiences for the past 30 years um molded me and got me into a position where I'm so comfortable I could just do it like easy. And you know, and that's not to say like, you know, it's not difficult still using your brain and coming up with some clever lines and all of that. But you know, I think I'm at a point where I'm, you know, Kobe, Jordan, uh Paul Pierce, excuse me, first. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Brady, you know what I'm saying? At that point where you just do it, you know, you've done it so many times, the repetition has got you to a point where you know, you able to do it at a high level and stay at that high level.
Indeed, indeed. How have you, you know, when you think about when you came into the game, right, when you first started, there's obviously not a lot of MCs or artists that have stayed, right? And that's nothing against them, but you know, I'm just curious to know how you've been able to stand the test of the time, because I almost feel like you had to reinvent yourself to a degree to still maintain. But can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, I think it was you know, for me, the 90s from 90 to 95 was my Edo.G and the Bulldogs, and then from there on I released, you know, EPs and jumped on a bunch of different compilations and different things tail end of the 90s. And then 2001 I put out The Truth Hurts, and I think the industry kind of forced me at that time too, because the whole thing was who you got on your album, what features you got. That was the whole, you know, craze that journalists want to know everybody who you got. So I did an album featuring all my hip hop friends. I had Black Thought, I had freaking Premier, Guru, Pete, Souls of Mischief, everybody I could think of. Because that's what the industry wanted. You know what I'm saying? And you listen to my first two albums, there was no features. It was just me rapping. I didn't need no features. I could hold an album by myself. But the industry forced me into that. So, you know, I did what was necessary. It came out, it was a dope project. People loved it. And then I did collaborated with Pete and collaborated with, you know, Ace and started Special Teams. And just a bunch of, trying to push the envelope every time with each project.
Indeed, indeed. And I think you also emerged in a time where you kind of like hip hop wasn't necessarily in your face the way it used to be before through like radio, right? Like you
Yeah.
emerged in a time where now people have to seek out music, through the internet, through social media, right? Where like a lot of artists that came up in that 90s or golden era where you still had that diversity on the radio stations. When that left, when that ability to get that music in that way left, a lot of people kind of disowned it. Like they didn't even know that these artists still continued making music, and you were able to still stand, during that time and still continue and probably, I'm pretty sure, garner much new fans in that as well.
Yeah. I think it was the opening of Europe and the world to hip hop, because America was over. Just like jazz had its high point and then it moved to Europe and then it moved around the world. The same for us. It was over. It was over here. They was on some
that was like
shit.
the beginning for me.
We started going to Europe. That's when I took sight, the early 2000s. That's when we started. And that's where we was at. And we garnered new fans because the age limit at that time was 16 to come to the shows. So we got fans that were 16 at our shows.
Wow.
Back then in 2001, 2, 3, 4, all the way up. So, we garnered a whole new generation of fans, and they appreciated the music. And they didn't even know about the early stuff. They just knew this stuff, us coming here then. From the 2000s on, the next, decade of music that I put out. So, that's just hip hop, and that's expanding all around the world where we can really tour in Europe like that. And now that's, one of the main places we go.
Definitely. That makes so much sense, man. So on the track Choose Your Path, I'm not gonna go through every track on the album, but most of the tracks I'll go through, just some aspects of the tracks. You on Choose Your Path, Edo, you have a line where you say the best things in life are free, the rest are expensive. What makes the best things in life free and the rest expensive?
Listen, man, air is free, life is free. To wake up every day and be thankful we living, we healthy, our family is good. That's free, man. Appreciate it. Everything else costs. Everything. TV, internet, phone, everything. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do what we got to do, man. Just appreciate life. That was more of a, man, just appreciate, waking up in the morning and what you have. Even if it's not a lot, you still got more than somebody else. There's always somebody that has less than you and is less unfortunate. Pray for them, pray for yourself, man, and be thankful.
Yeah. It is such a profound line, because when you talk about the air, it's something we take for granted. You know what I'm saying? Every day you wake up, especially, I'm
not me. Not me.
Of course,
not
right?
me.
Of course. Yeah. You know even better, right? Yeah. I could dig it, man. I was gonna say, like, me being from New York is such a busy city, like it's always get up, move. And I think that's one of the things the pandemic did for us, is kind of slow us down and help us to reflect. But yeah, man, I thank you so much for, sharing those little jewels in your music. And you've done it a lot throughout the years as well. And this record is no different.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the production on the album. As I understand, Insight Innovates, you did pretty much all the production on that album. One of the things that I noticed that's pretty apparent about the production is it is the epitome of boom bap and soulful. So like those two musical characteristics just outright embody the music on the album. How easy or difficult was it for you to come up with that cohesive sound?
I think it's just me. I mean, if you go back to listen to the, like, you know, I've been doing music ever since, you know, 99. You know, I started playing the piano ever since I was like 4, you know. You know, everybody in my family plays music. You know, been, you know, I think the first song that I ever made was, you know, I've never just been a producer. I've always, you know, I've always been, you know, just MC, producer, DJ. So when I make a song, I have the whole entire vision there, unless I'm
Right.
collaborating. But then I'm thinking of the whole thing. So this album is just an extension of what I've always been doing. It's just, it's consistent with all the old. If you go back, I made an album called Life's a Struggle. I had a group with these five MCs, electric company, and that vibe was kind of like uplifting. It was kind of along the same lines, but this is more an updated, you know. If you were to listen to all the old stuff and then I never really stopped releasing music. I just released it in places where you couldn't follow the breadcrumbs, because I kind of like doing that. But it's just an extension of what I do. So it's like, if you like that, then I would just say keep listening, because there's just more of
Right.
that from, you know, it's not difficult. A lot of the stuff, I mean, I'm not one of them cats that have to be on 12-bit machine, got to use an MPC. I'm not stuck on that. I can jump on software only. Some of the, you know, a good portion of them beats is just all played, you know, play the bass line, play the chords, you know, I mean, it's just music. And that's all to it. I do focus a lot on the way the drums play off of the other sounds. So I spend a lot of time on that. Just, I think that's probably unique to me, the way the flinchiness with the way the drums jump around bass lines and stuff. That might be unique to me, but it's like a thing that people may not notice it as much until they hear a lot of it.
Got
So,
it. What do
yeah.
you create first? Do you create your drums first and then, you know, put the sample or the melodies over it, or is it vice versa?
If I'm thinking of the vibe, I get the instruments that's all in my head to go together with whatever I'm thinking of. So it's not like oh, I want these kind of drums. It's like I need this type of composition, and I'm like looking for the sounds that fit in those puzzle pieces.
Got it.
So that's another reason why the album it doesn't sound like we fighting. The beat is not fighting the lyrics. It's like every song sounds like the music they're not fighting each other. They sound like they're supposed to go that way. We're not trying to do something super dynamic over the beat when overcomplicating stuff. It's just, the songs come together like they should. So, every voice, music, instruments, they all kind of part of one thing.
Definitely.
So.
I also feel like a variety of the tracks on the album have a lot of vocal samples that appear particularly in the hook alongside, the cuts and the scratches, which is an attribute to hip hop songs that usually is always cool to experience, right? And just putting that DJ presence in the song. Can you talk about how the effect of making the repeated vocal samples and the scratches a part of the hook come together? Like what is that process like in not only finding the vocal samples and getting the right scratches, but also positioning these sounds in the right place so that they work for the actual song?
Okay, so that's a good question. So one thing I'll say to that, so it's less about just putting a sound in there just for the sake of doing it, right? The voice is an instrument also. The cuts is an instrument. So, and that's something I've been tweaking since I first started putting records out. Like, I kind of do that in my own way. I've kind of always been doing that and using the voice in a certain way. And even when I put cuts in there, I tweak them in a certain way, you know. So it's not like I'm really looking for voice or voice samples for whatever beat. It's more, it's the beat and the song and the chorus and everything all together kind of you know, drives me to what I'm actually doing. Like I might listen to, like we might listen to the song and maybe didn't do the chorus yet, and then Ed might be like, I'm thinking of this, give me some ideas. I fill something in, and then, you know, we might say, oh, it still sounds like it's missing something, just go there, play it. It's all about having fun but being professional. You don't want to get stuck working on something and just feel like you're just throwing anything there. At the end of the day, you still, it's a creative process. You still I still have fun with it. I pretty much enjoy what I'm doing, but I go by the feel. Does it feel like it's missing something, or what do I envision in these spots? You know, so that's more explaining the creative process, and also a style and taste that, you know, that's based on something I've been tweaking over the years. So yeah, the process is same process that you would go through, you know, writing lyrics. But now when you get to the song, you know, it's like, what's the song about? What do you want to hear in the chorus? Like, what do you know, you might approach something with no idea. You're right. You might just, you know, hear melodies and just fill it up and then do the lyrics, you know. So you know, there's not really any one which way to define how to go, you know, what the creative process is with putting this stuff together. But it's all elements that's kind of already there. Your taste, things you like, maybe some ideas I already had, but all this the thing that means the most is, how does it feel at the end? Is it missing something? Do you got to keep going? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
man, well said, man. I'm so glad you were able to give context to that. Now, also on the song Choose Your Path, I want to get back to the lyrics. Edo, you have a lyric where you say, I do the math, stop moving fast. No matter who you ask, when you in space, your body losing mass. Can you explain what that line means, especially as it relates to the space and mass reference?
Listen, when you in space, you know, you're losing weight. That's why you see the astronauts working out, because their bodies are losing. You shrinking in space. If you don't have anything to walk on and you just floating around, your body is not working how it normally works. You know, I wanted to be an astronaut in a former life, a rap astronaut. But it didn't work out. So, you know, I'm into a bunch of stuff. Me and Sight, you know, off planet, man. Hopefully humanity can get there soon and we can experience it too before we get off this earth. So, yeah, it's just a reference to some space shit, some NASA, for all my nerds, rap nerds out there that's into space. Holla at me.
Indeed. It made me think, you know, when I heard the line, and then when I listened to the other verse from Insight, you had some space references too. I think you referenced Darth Vader and gravity or something like that. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. So dope. All right. So the next song is called Good and Goodbye. I like the instrumental vibe on this particular song. It has like a semi upbeat energy to go with the optimistic theme of the song. What input did the featured guitarist Brady Watt have as far as his contribution to the mood of the song?
So I did this. So I had dropped the bass line. I had like chopped up the sample and kind of had the vibe of the song already there. And then Ed made that suggested that he, you know, he get Brady Watts to replay it. So he basically replayed the samples and kind of like did ad libs here and there and sent everything back. And then, you know, that's why like some parts is actually played out. I actually overlaid what he played and some of that stuff onto the beat, so it gave it a nice live feel. And yeah, he kind of brought out yeah, a good portion of the change ups. And like when you hear like the bridge at the end of the song and the very end where he kind of just did more ad libbing, I think that just gave the song a less repetitive feel, right? And it just gave it more yeah, a live playing feel. It just he added that to it, so it was really a good addition to the joint.
Yeah,
And a change to the vibe of the other songs, right? Because we didn't go so far that it was just like a live song, but
right.
it's still like a hip hop, you know, with
Yeah.
program boom bap drums. But now you got the, you know, the live bass just playing the ad libs over. It was a dope addition.
Is he the only like additional like live music feature on the album?
He's the only feature we had on the album.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I see his name like on the actual track.
Yeah, because we didn't need another. I mean, we talked about it. We didn't need another feature, right? So
Right.
it just sounds complete like that. And I kind of was at once we started getting to the end, I was like, man, I don't even want another feature. I just want that's it. You know, it just sounds like I'm glad we didn't. I could listen to front to back, and it's just a cohesive, gives you this one uplifting vibe. It's like authentic and sincere. We don't need anything else.
Dope. Now, uh, just to add on to that title, right? Finding the good in goodbye. I have to say that is often easier said than done. How does one actually succeed on the path of finding the good in goodbye? And either
Ed got Ed, that was Ed's concept. I think that was such a good. I think it was a good. You think of just the name. The title is a good joint. You know.
Yeah, man. Man, for me, you gotta try to find that. It might take you some time because it's not something that just, you could just find it in some bad shit. You know what I'm saying? So, with the album, it was more boom bap. I'm like, "Sight, we got to do something. Talk about relationships. Something that is, a little over here that people can say, oh, okay, yeah, I can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? So you try to, if you listen to it, when I look, you try to find the good in goodbyes, so you gotta try to find it in there, man. It's gonna be difficult if you're going through a heartbreak or if you're going through any kind of relationship struggles, but at the end of the day, when you do, you're gonna be better off. And that's the uplifting part about it.
right.
Once you get over it, you good.
Yeah. It's also like it's also such a concept that is so easy to overlook, right? Because the actual word good is in the word goodbye. And I like the fact that y'all honed in on that. It was good to put some focus, from an optimistic level on the actual term.
Exactly.
So on the song One Step at a Time, you have a standout line where it's actually you, Insight, where you say, life is not about choices, but how one chooses. From your experience, what often has been the motivating factor or support system that you usually go to help you to make the right choice in life situations?
I don't know if this is the right answer, but the thing that always, and it may be not what you're expecting to hear, but the the thing that motivates me somehow is doubt. It's like every time I want to do something, it seems like I have so much doubt surrounding if I can do it.
Mm,
Right. So I'm always one that leans on my actions to speak louder than what I would say. Right. Um, when I started when I started, writing rhymes, people told me not to make beats because I was a rapper first. And it was like, don't make beats. Then it was like, depending on how you heard me, if you heard me making beats first, then it was like, oh, he makes beats. Don't rap. Just produce for this guy over here. Then it was like, don't do cuts. Then it was like, don't do software, right? Everything. I'm always like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. The worst thing you can do is tell me that I can't do it, because then I'm gonna want to do it, right? So I feel like doubt is energizing, and so I have a couple of principles that lead around that. One is I don't do things to seek validation. I do things to accomplish goals, because actions speak louder than words, right? So I'm not going to do something because I need to get props. I already know I can be dope. I know I can, we just like what Ed and I is doing. We don't have to be validated, because we know we can do whatever. We'll do a show, destroy the show, right? So that's what this boils down to. Actions speak louder than words. Goes back to the name change. Don't need to seek validation. I don't mind if nobody heard the new name, right? You see me doing the show, best believe I'm destroying it. I don't care if we're first, last, wherever it is. We're gonna prove that we can work hard to do quality music, put our time and effort, and we represent the things that people should embrace, like dedication, positivity, believing in oneself, just being good role. We actually do represent those things that should be promoted, right? In normal society, just positive Black men doing, we don't have to be like basketball players, or if you look at what we're doing, we're spreading these messages, and we're living by the words we speak, right? So actions speak louder than words. That goes back to your question. So that's kind of long-winded way of getting to the
Oh
answer.
no, I appreciate it. I love when artists take the time to really flesh it out and explain it. So Edo, on this track, you have a line where you say you could take it with a grain of salt or a shovel of dirt. Now I'll say it's actually kind of funny when you hear it for the first time, but I know it's layered. So I wanted to ask you what you were trying to emphasize with that shovel of dirt line.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, you take it this way or take it that way, man. It's only two ways. You know what I mean? So, your choice. Like I said, I mean, so it was just funny line, man. I try to just implement punchlines, and I was taught that by, shout out to my brother Master Ace, because before I worked with him, I had mad punchlines, but I used to just put them everywhere. Like, I'd start my verse with a punchline. He was like, yo, son, hold up. Let me tell you. Put it here, and put it here. I said,
Not the Ace, yeah.
After that, and that's what that goes back to working with more artists, doing more collaborations, learning from others. You know what I'm saying? And then taking that and implementing it into what you do and making yourself better. So, it's all a learning process. I don't care how old you are, you still learning, man. So that was one of the things I learned from him. And, it's been working out since around 07, since I,
Nice.
did the project with my brother. Shout out to Brooklyn. I know, y'all
Yeah.
Y'all won tonight, so.
Oh man, yeah, we won. Oh shoot, that's what's up. Yeah.
Milwaukee gonna get y'all though.
Oh man, you think so? For those that don't know, we talk about
Greek freak all day, man.
Oh man, yeah, I wanted to catch the end of that game too, man. But that's what's up, man. But Boston put up a fight. I mean, probably could have put a bigger fight, but that brother Tatum is no joke.
We injured.
Oh, yeah.
Browns injured.
Right. Yeah. I banged up, man.
We banged up. So I'm just.
Right.
I salute y'all. I give it to y'all. Y'all got it, man. But I'm rooting for Milwaukee. I never root for New York. Sorry, never. Austin.
You know the other side of that, the New York Knicks, they're kind of struggling right now.
I'm not rooting for them ever, neither. Go Atlanta. No New York on my
goodness. Oh, man. Yeah, man. It's Brooklyn over here, man.
I know. You know, you know how we do it with the sports in Boston. And
word. I know, man. I know.
So love, hate. Hate, love, I mean.
I know, man. I know. So, I wanted to also talk about the song Ceiling. You guys say repeatedly, you know, in that song, I think it's a hook that you both share. You say we ain't reached our ceiling. Edo do facts, y'all do feelings. And then Insight, you say we ain't reached our ceiling. Insight do facts, y'all do feelings. Now I get the sense that when you guys say you haven't reached your ceiling, you're talking you're talking about taking the slower but longevity approach to success. But can you expound on what this line is actually referring to when it comes to the importance of putting facts over feelings?
Ed, you want? I think. Well, the song itself just means you haven't even heard the best yet. Since we still creating. You know what I mean? There's still more to come, and we're still evolving. So that's basically what that means. But Ed, you can chime in on that.
Yeah, and as far as we do facts, man. We just spitting, the real, man. Sometimes, the truth hurts, man. You know what I'm saying, y'all? You look at America and the state we in. There's about 70. I don't even know how many million white people don't believe that the election was real. Like, it's a fact. Your feelings might be hurt, but it's a fact. You gotta. The truth is the truth. You know what I'm saying? So we just telling the truth, and you more in your feelings. You know what I'm saying? And not really trying to, understand that. Facts is facts, man. You can't dispute them. They are what they are. Whether you like it or you hate it, the truth is always going to be the truth. So that was what that line really meant. And it was, like I said, more for a lot of those kind of crazy people out there that, and rappers, of course, because they in a fantasy land. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I'm actually spit this to y'all because this is from the first single. Because it takes progress. Life could be a cutthroat process. Part of the test, make goals through small steps. Progress. When your situations get hard pressed, make progress. If you with it, nod yes. So this is the first single. Very uplifting, very inspiring. Insight, you say part of the test is breaking goals. Is it breaking goals? Are you saying breaking goals?
Yeah, break goals into small steps.
Right. Break goals into small steps. So I have a two-part question for you guys, but I'll ask them individually. What are some, I'll say this, what are some approaches or strategies that you have taken in your experience that have helped you to even get to the small steps? So before you could even make that first step, what are some things you've done that have helped you to take that step?
You got that, Ed?
I thought he was directing it towards you, but
oh, okay, yeah, I could. So first, one note on that. I came up with the chorus after we came up with the verse because I heard the verses, and then I was like, oh damn, the verses made me write the chorus. You know what I mean? Because it just sounded like it I mean, what we were saying, I was damn, how this is so uplifting. How do I tie it together? That and
Right.
then that's how that chorus came about. So so to answer your question, how do you get to the how do you break your goals into small steps, or what do you do to actually
Yeah,
get to
how do
the
you
point?
even get to the first step? Let's just envision that the individual is struggling, is unmotivated, right? Is
Right.
struggling, maybe
Got
going
it.
through a
Got it.
hard
So
time, and they can't even take that first step towards progress. Like, what are some things? And these questions, they may seem generic, but of course, I'm expecting you to answer from your perspective or from your experience. So
yeah,
just
I can actually answer that question because uh in my mind for that chorus I had one specific thing that I was thinking of, and it just goes back to me and this whole doubt thing. I have this thing about people saying you can't do something and it's possible. So that was I had an instance where I was like performing somewhere. It was like '05 or something, and I was backstage coding something, and then somebody just told me, it was just like, you never be a coder, you would never be a software developer, because those guys spend their whole time just doing that. That's what they do. You're just a rapper, right? And I didn't look at it like I wanted to be a developer. I was solving the problem, like how do I synchronize this audio music with
right,
other things that I wanted to do so that I can make things happen on stage. So when I say break down the problem into small steps, that's really what I meant. So okay, what first you got to identify the goal. What are you really trying to do,
right,
right? So if you want to make progress in anything, first you got to add what's the goal. Like, it's like, okay, I want to learn enough so that I can, maybe, make the stage lights turn on when I, play a song, right? And you're just identifying the problem is the first, part of the step. And now you might have such a big goal that you can't identify what you need to do to, you maybe it's like, oh, I want to own a building. Like, how do I do that? I have no money. So, right. So now you gotta, like, because I did the same thing. I wanted to get into real estate and figuring that out. And then it's like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. So then you have to break down the problem until you get to a point where you can understand things. So I'll give you a really good example. So when I was first starting to do software, all I really wanted to do was there's a concept called a fast Fourier transform, and what that is just displaying a waveform from this mathematic algorithm, right? But really, what I wanted to do is like make some software that I can sample a sound and then see the sound so that I can chop it up and edit it so it could visually happen. But without knowing all of these programming concepts, all you deal with is you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to learn this first, and so you keep on unrolling the problem until you get to 1 + 1 = 2. It's like, well, I understand that, and then you go forward from there. So, identify the problem, make smaller and smaller goals until now you have your steps, and then you get to the point where you understand the steps. You might have a bigger goal than you can reach anytime soon, but it might allow you to go up some steps. So that's kind of what I go by, and that's kind of
right.
where that chorus is all about.
I appreciate you sharing that, man. Very well said. The other part to the question I wanted to ask too is like, now once you take that step, right? How do you maintain progress forward and not procrastinate or fall behind on your goals? Because that's another aspect of progress as well.
Yeah, I think you're always setting goals and redefining what success is in your life. I think success is just a one-step process, and that process is really, what do you define success as being? Is success how much money you have, or is it how much freedom you have? So I think that's always something that's getting redefined.
Right.
So you can, I think it's fine to set a goal and not achieve the goal. I think
Mhm.
the important thing is to have those steps and try to climb the steps. Where you
Right.
fail is where you just stand on the steps. You
Right.
know, that's where you
Right.
fail. You stand on the steps, you go backwards, you don't do anything, you know, or you doubt yourself to even taking a step. So
Got it.
I think that's the answer. The answer is, we live and we keep redefining things, and sometimes things don't work out, and that's fine. But no matter what you do, just keep moving.
Right. 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 What would you say creates the rhythm for you to, that you're able to keep moving? Because some people do get stagnant. Like, but in your experience, what keeps, like, even like, let's just say with this project, like you set out to do this project, I'm pretty sure you had a deadline, right? In terms of when you guys wanted to finish it, right? Like, what kept you guys continuing, to flesh it out through, see it out through the deadline.
I think it's just professionalism. I
Mm.
think that's an easy one. Once, like I said, like Ed, he got the joints. We set a time to do it. We did it. It's just uh we're past the point of just doing stuff for, we could do stuff for fun, but we both been doing stuff for like 30 years. It's like we go in the studio, we do what we need to do, and we knock it out, and we go about it. It's just professionalism. um I think that's the main thing.
Definitely, definitely, that makes sense. So, my next question is for Edo.G. And let me just say, I want to thank y'all for staying the course to be able to answer questions about this project. As you guys can see, I really tune into the music and the themes and some of the lyrics. So I'm glad that you guys can kind of like break some of the meaning behind some of the music. But Edo, I um I can't leave without asking you this question. And I'm pretty sure this is a topic that has come up a huge amount of times in interviews for you. Um, your record, probably your most, famous record to date, Be a Father to Your Child, by you and the Bulldogs. It represents the epitome of standard of responsible messages in hip hop music. It's one of those records that just gives hip hop a good rap, right? Over the years, what are some of the best responses you've gotten about the positive impact that this record has had?
Man, I think, most times the guys that I've seen and that have come up to me, it's changed, the thought process of black men and, men of color, Latino men, and I think a lot of men who heard the record, because it just no one wanted to be a deadbeat dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
After that record. That
mm,
record made it uncool for, cats to not take care of their
So hold on, you breaking up
responsibilities,
just a
man.
little bit,
So
Edo.
for
Sorry,
some, you, you hear me?
yeah, you breaking up.
Now hear
You
me?
could, I hear you, but you're
You
breaking
hear me?
up.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. You were good. It was just that you were breaking. All right,
Good.
yeah.
did it. Yo, repeat that line you said that album made it uncool for people to be like, repeat, start right there and just
Just
continue on.
respond to the whole,
So
question. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so the record Be a Father to Your Child, I think it made it uncool for, men to not be responsible for their kids. Before that it was cool, The cool thing, especially in Boston, was to, when a girl said they was pregnant, was to say it's not mine. That was the first thing out of a dude's mouth. Even though they know they was you know, up in there, raw, doing their thing, they still wanted to, nah, that ain't me. So I think that, you know, changed the whole dynamic of the way we looked at fathers
Mhm.
and black men in particular, you know.
Right. And also speak to like the feedback you've gotten over the years on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. As far as that, I think one of the greatest things I think that I've seen that came from that is my man Glenn in Ohio out there. He started a program. He worked for the Urban League out there in Ohio, and he started a father's program, and it was based off of the song.
Wow.
Cats in the
Mm.
program had to learn the lyrics, know what it meant, watch the video, and he brought me out there, gave me an award, um, and you know, honored me. It was, you know, amazing, man. For a song, you know, a cat like me sitting, you know, in the crib writing that song in '90, and you know, it translated to something like that where a whole program was started because of it. So it's crazy.
That is so dope. With all that you have accomplished you know, so far, Edo, what is that major thing you still feel like you want to achieve or contribute to your music career?
Just you know, really keep doing what I've been doing, man. Stay on the same path. Keep putting out good music, man. And music that people can feel. Keep touring until, you know, I don't feel I want to do it anymore, man. I think that's it. I think I've accomplished, you know, pretty much all I can accomplish in this, and still more coming, you know, with in other areas of music, maybe being behind the scenes and accomplishing, you know, other things. So you know, there's more to come, but as far as music, man, I just have a love for it, and I just want to keep doing it until, you know, I don't feel like, you know, I can get out there and do it anymore.
Dope. I could dig it. I could dig it. So before I get out of here, I do want to just again give y'all much props for, you know, this project, and I'm pretty sure there's much more to come. Is there a possibility that we will see another Edo.G and Insight Innovates project, and will this one have an actual separate title this time? What's the thoughts on follow up to this project?
Yeah, man, we definitely gonna have more joints to come for sure. Yeah, you could count on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna have a few conceptual projects coming. We got so much
Yo, we got so.
um,
I'm trying. I'm holding back
with
because
this
we got
like
so
this,
many.
like some mind blowing things, man, that we working
Yeah,
on, man, and you know, some real like innovative thought process collaborative joints that we're gonna do. Like not just your ordinary. The next joints we're gonna do is gonna be on some other shit. That's all I'm gonna say. Like
it's
they're gonna be
definitely
boom
stay
bap
on the lookout.
additional, but you know what our thought process we thinking like somewhere else, man.
Dope, dope. So again, man, I want to thank y'all for your time for this interview. I know y'all got some more stuff coming, even individually, right, through the pipeline. So if you want to shout some of what people could expect from you guys next, please go ahead and do so.
Shoot, for me, you know, I got solo album coming out this year, and an Edo.G and the Bulldogs 30th year anniversary album coming 91 to 21, already recorded, and a bunch of other collaborative albums too on coming out this year. So look out for all that.
Dope, dope,
Yep.
dope.
And me, I'll post it up at the website insightinnovates.com. I got, you know, other than we're doing a VR album sort of like take you on the ride with us for this album. It's gonna be all 3D.
Nice.
That part of that's gonna be coming out, and then after I got like a solo album with that's gonna be on Brick. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, like of course, trinkets of other projects, but that's gonna be the main thing to happen.
Wow, man, I'm looking forward to the music experience as it continues to unfold under the name Insight Innovates. So yeah, man, I'm gonna definitely be looking forward to what you got coming, brothers.
Thank you.
And yes, man, thank y'all again. I wish y'all much continued success in your, in your collaborative and individual careers. I'm definitely gonna be banging this record. It is, like I said, it's the epitome of boom bap and soul, and I think it is such a special record for hip hop today. Like everything doesn't have to be, this super hyper, masculine or hyper sexual, hip hop. We can have music that, has a positive message or a thought provoking message, and we can still vibe out to it. And that's what this record does, man. So kudos again for this record to all of our.
Thank you.
Indeed. To all of our viewers and listeners, make sure y'all keep checking us out on the website, which is outtheboxmedia.com. Remember, we have a Patreon page where you can get access to exclusive interview clips. So go ahead and become a subscriber if you want to support us in that way. And yeah, man, until next week when we come back for a new episode, I just want to say peace, love, and light. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay focused. We out. Peace.